What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. So I want to talk today about why I chose an enclosed trailer to turn into a tiny home to live off the grid and travel full time, and also be able to just chill out when I want to chill out. So I'm going to talk about that a little more. First, I've got to give you a little bit of my background. I've lived in a van for about 3 years, took a couple breaks for a couple months at a time to rebuild vans and stuff. But for the most part, 3 years is about how long I've lived in a van. Started with the Chevy Astro, then I met my girlfriend. She bought this van, and we built this one out, and we've been living in this. And it's been great, man. Having the 24-inch high top on this extended Chevy van has given us so much more room than the Astro. It's like night and day. You know, we got the high top installed, and we built the storage over there. We've got storage over there. So we've got a lot of room. But the really like two things that really I don't like about van life, or the only things I really don't like, is not having a shower and not having my own toilet. Using public bathrooms is sometimes just disgusting, and sometimes it's a pain in the ass to have to go find a toilet. You know, the other day I ate something really weird. I had like a bagel and cream cheese and a chocolate brownie. Let me try to set you down somewhere. And apple juice, which was a huge mistake, man. Ended up with some like morbid diarrhea, like really bad. Like all of a sudden I was just like, I need a bathroom now. Like I have to go to the bathroom right now. Like I was on the verge of crapping my pants, dude. It was that bad. And luckily we have a little Dometic porta potty, which, man, if I didn't have that, I don't know what I would have done. I don't think 20 bags would have been enough. It was monstrous. But anyway, I want my own place to take a poop when I want to take a poop and not have to deal with it. I'm tired of dealing with bottles. I'm tired of dumping the little Dometic toilet every like week. That's a pain. So we're looking at like a compost toilet, which won't fit in here. There's nowhere to put it. And the other thing is showers. Yes, you can get showers at gyms. You can get them at campgrounds. You can get them at friends' houses. You can get them at truck stops. There's a lot of places to get a shower, but they're gross, man. Dudes do the thing in there, and you're like bathing in people's semen, man. It's gross. I don't dig it at all. You gotta do what you gotta do, you know, and it works. It's better than nothing. You know, we've got an outdoor shower, but it's always cold water. We could get one of those propane heater things to do it outdoors, but you can't do it when you're in the city. There's just nowhere to do it. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh man. Whew. All right, so outdoor shower is not something you can do every day. Can't really fit one in here, and I want a permanent one. I want to just walk in and take a shower. And the third thing that we've avoided for the most part with this van is having to do something else. Our van, I learned on the Astro that I want a fixed bed where I can just lay down and go to sleep or work on my laptop or whatever, and that's it. That's all. I just want to lay down. I don't want to have to unfold things and do things and move things and all this stuff. And we have too much stuff, so we have all this stuff sitting on the bed. So we put it up here at night when we drive, and in the morning we got to put it all back. We got to make our rounds, make sure everything is, you know, away so it's not going to fall and stuff. And right now it's an absolute disaster in here because we haven't done a deep clean for a while. We're going to very soon. But anyway, those are the things I just make van life just, I can't do that forever. For a year or two, it's fine. It's no big deal. It's fun. It's adventurous. It's living rough. It's on the edge. I like that. But after like 2 or 3 years, I'm getting burnout on that. And the fourth thing is temperature control. We don't have AC back here. We probably could figure out how we could get a generator. We could get a massive battery bank, and that's what we plan to do in the trailer, as I'm about to show you. But those are the things that make van life annoying. All right, so I'm sitting here editing this video right now. I've actually filmed the second part of this video like probably at least 10 times now. I keep rambling and carrying on and on and on. So the top 5 list starts now. I think if I'm not in the trailer, it'll be easier. So number 1 was cost. We bought the thing brand new for $7,000. We had to buy it brand new because we didn't have enough money to buy a used one up front, and we needed it to leave town. A complicated story. Talk about it in another video. I think I already have. You can't buy a brand new Skoolie or box truck or RV, Class C, B, A, whatever, or step van for that kind of money, or even a lightly used, really, really good shape one. So the initial cost was way lower on that, and we already have this van, which is a 3/4 ton van that can tow it no problem. So initial cost is just ridiculously lower. Also included in that is like Skoolies have, and we were going for a Skoolie because they're cool. They're way cool, man. They're awesome. Like everybody who has one that I've seen, I'm like, dude, this is awesome. So they have windows covering the entire side. Those are extremely hard to insulate. The doors like the front doors that fold open, they hang down really low and just destroy your ground clearance. So we want to cut that off and weld stuff. So we ended up like cutting and welding and doing all kinds of stuff. And then you've got this like huge length. Even if you don't get a full size one, like the bigger you go, the more you have to insulate and panel, and you're gonna want to fill it in with cabinets or whatever. So it's gonna the bigger you get, the more it's gonna cost to build out. So it adds up really quick. And not only that, but when you buy something used, you got to catch up on maintenance. For instance, this van I'm in right now, had 80,000 miles when we bought it, but we had to put in new tires, new brakes, new shocks. Some of the shocks we got for free. Thank you, Jesse. Let's see what else. New AC compressor. We had to tint the windows because the windows weren't tinted at all, and they were just letting heat straight through. And that was expensive. So we ended up spending like I think $1,500 on just catching up on maintenance. You could. That's part way to a used trailer. That's pretty close to a used trailer. You can get one for probably, I don't know, $3,000 or $4,000 for one our size. Not in very good condition, but you can get one that's a 16-footer for about that, depending on where you live. So initial cost was a huge thing, and then the next part was long-term cost. So when I had my Astro, I bought it with 220,000 miles on it. I went test drove it at the dealership. It ran fantastic. It ran amazing. I was like, oh man, this is great. And everybody told me, oh yeah, these vans last till like 300,000 miles. It's like, cool, I'll have this for at least a couple years, before it craps. And I did, actually. I had it for, I think, 3 or 4 years. But eventually the engine went out. And I replaced the engine, and that was pretty expensive, and I did it very cheap. I had the help of some amazing people to help me swap the engine out, and didn't have to pay them. I paid them with Fireball and Subway sandwiches and stuff, and they pretty much just volunteered to help me swap out that engine. If I had to pay somebody to do it, I wouldn't have been able to afford it. It would have been like probably $3,000 or $4,000 to replace an engine. And soon after that happened, after I replaced the old worn out engine with a new peppy powerful engine, the transmission went out, and so I had to replace that. And after the transmission, it probably would have been the rear axle, and I replaced the U-joints at the same time. So it's when things get high mileage like that, everything is worn out. So even when you replace one thing with something stronger, suddenly it's putting more force on everything else, so it's more expensive. And we wanted to go with like a Skoolie or a box truck or maybe even a step van, and those are all industrial, so those are extremely, like, compared to like just a little Chevy Astro or a Chevy van like this, extremely expensive to replace parts in. And once you get into diesel stuff, if you need somebody to work on your stuff, it's even more expensive and industrial, and you've got to find somebody to work on that stuff. And now you've got big industrial grade tires that are crazy expensive, and industrial brakes. Everything's industrial, and it's really hard to find. So that brings us to point number, I guess, 3. I'll just say the next point because I'm losing track of the numbers at this point. The simplicity of the trailer. It doesn't have an engine. It doesn't have a transmission. It doesn't have really anything. The only maintenance you have to do on it is to grease the hubs, which is just a little rubber cap that pops off, and you stick a grease gun on there and pump it a couple times, and you're good to go. This one's got self-adjusting brakes. Don't have to mess with those. Eventually, we'll have to replace the brakes. I've done drum brakes. It sucks, but it's not the end of the world. It's easier than replacing an engine, I can tell you that. And replace the tires. So really those 3 things, the brakes, the tires, and lubing the axles. That's really the only maintenance there is on that thing. Maybe greasing things, and anything else is going to be the same, of making sure that if the frame's rusting or something, take care of that. If you've got a leak, take care of that. It's going to be the same on anything. So the simplicity was awesome. And if the engine blows in our van, we'll probably just get rid of the van and buy another tow vehicle. And to buy, an F-250 or something, buy a 1994 F-250 with a 7.3 diesel legendary engine, whatever year they made them, I don't know. We could probably get one for $2,000 or something, versus, to put a new engine in a Skoolie, it's probably going to be $10,000 or something. It's going to be crazy expensive. And it just made a lot. Once we thought about it that way, they were like, okay, let's just get a bigger trailer so we can build it out to replace this van when it finally blows. And so that, all those things were like, man, this trailer thing is looking real good. So we pretty much decided at that point to do it. But also a huge one was stealth factor. I've talked to quite a few people with Skoolies that said, certain areas it's kind of hard to find parking. It's really hard to drive around the city and stuff. And a lot of people would argue that it's hard to drive with a trailer. I've only, I had a job when I was younger that I drove a trailer with, and I didn't think it was that big of a deal then. I've had this trailer for like a week. Not a big deal at all. I actually drove down a street tonight that was it's a two-way street, but cars park on both sides, and up once you get over the top of the hill and come down, these two cars were parked in the road so close together that our van wouldn't even fit through, and the trailer's axles are wider, so I had to back all the way down the street by myself. Evie wasn't, she was at work, and it wasn't really a big deal. I just jumped out and looked and made sure I wasn't going to hit anything, and then jumped back in and backed up and then jumped out. And I've only been doing this like a week. The last time I drove a trailer was when I was like 16, so that's got to say something. It's not that hard to drive a trailer. It breaks in the middle, so when you go around corners, it's not the whole thing's going like this. It breaks and follows, you know what I mean? So it's not a big deal. God damn it, I'm rambling again. Shit. What was the rest of that? Stealth. Okay, so this van is just a white van with a white high top. It looks like it could be anything. That trailer is just a white cargo trailer. It could be a landscaping crew. It could be somebody's hauling dirt bikes. It could be dog wash. Who knows? It could be anything. There could be anything in there. And it just looks plain Jane, normal stuff. It's not a Skoolie that's obviously built out into a house. It's super stealthy. We could park this thing anywhere, and nobody really bats an eye. So that's a huge thing too. And another part of that is in the future we plan to buy property, and in multiple places throughout the country, so we can just chill out for a couple months on whatever plot of land we want to be on and just explore the general area, and make friends in that area and really get to know a place and stuff. And a lot of places are pretty strict on like zoning laws and stuff. And if you have a tiny house or a school bus or something that looks like you live in it, you might run into some trouble with the government, man. They might kick you off your own property, which is absolutely insane to me. I don't think the government has any right to tell you what you can and cannot do with your own property, as long as you're not hurting anybody with it. If you're dumping poison in the ground or something, then yeah, they should step in. But otherwise, this isn't a political debate, but my point is that we're gonna run into less problems with authority and with just people who don't like other people living in their vehicles. There are definitely people who I have to work to pay rent, or I have to work to pay mortgage, and you shouldn't be allowed to work less and live in your vehicle, and therefore I hate you, and I'm gonna do everything I can to make your life difficult. There are people like that, and we can avoid that, hopefully, with a super stealthy trailer. So the stealth thing was a huge deal, and that was kind of the final turning factor. We're like, okay, we're not getting to school anymore. We're just going to get a big trailer so we can do this. That's pretty much it. Those are pretty much the reasons why. So we got initial cost, long-term cost, stealth, ease of maintenance, stealth, I think I already said that, and the ability to switch out the tow vehicles. And there's kind of a last one, which probably won't happen very often. I think I'd be nervous to just leave the trailer somewhere. But we do have the option, like if we go to a campground somewhere, an RV park or something, or maybe to a friend's house, or that property I was talking about buying in the future, we can leave our trailer there and just take the tow vehicle to town to, load up on propane and water and groceries or something. We totally have the option to do that. They are kind of easy to steal, and I'd feel nervous about that. But in certain situations, it would be totally cool, and it would work out really good, like a campground kind of thing. So that's it, guys. I tried not to ramble too much, but I know I did a little bit. So thank you so much for sticking through that. If you did, really appreciate your time watching these videos. So thank you so much. See you next time. Love yourself.